Vandana, you want to add?
I completely agree, and I think we all agree that platforms are missing. Also, we find that there's very little focus given to non-feature films. The feature films is something that obviously gets most of the attention. But remember that even when a young filmmaker wants to make a feature film, he's often asked, even by a producer from outside, to say, first make a short film. So it's very important to give more focus on short films. Short films are also easier to watch because they're less time consuming. And I think that all of you can help in doing that, in putting more focus on the feature, building clubs around it, talking more about it, talking more about the films that are here in IFFI, for instance. We've selected a wide variety, as Nala said, from many different languages. We've kept that diversity in mind also. And there are some very lovely films, that we would like to watch again, in fact.
May I say something?
Yeah.
Over the years, what we have felt is that the non-feature films, non-fiction films also, need not only the appreciation from the audience, but they also need the support from the press. Because we have seen that there are a lot of reviews and everything about the feature films, but press people generally ignore the non-fiction films.
Even in the winner list in National Award category, I mean, we also got a lot of awards in non-fiction. Mainly we see only that feature films are published. Hardly you can see that non-fiction people, the documentary people winners list. That's one thing, because that's a small encouragement these people they get. It's good, but it's not there. That's one thing. Again, in terms of mentoring thing, I mean, obviously a lot of good content because of this easy availability of cameras. Nowadays you can make films with any cameras, because that's one thing. What is happening is there's lack of storytelling, a lot of technical stuff which is missing, because they are not technicians. Everyone wants to tell a story, but what is lacking is it's not in terms of storytelling aspect. If you see, still that graft is not there in this non-fiction section, which is very important. Yeah. Please.
And also, I think to add to your point, and I think this is how we all probably feel is that. Because it's become ubiquitous for you to take photographs you can do it anywhere, or videos on your phone. Everybody perforce has become a filmmaker. But there is a grammar to film. It is like every other language. And I remember, for instance, when I was making short films, before I went to film school, my mentor, who was a documentary filmmaker, told me, he said, you must go to film school. Even though you're good, you must go. I said, why would I do that? He said, because you will never know what you don't know. So that's what happens with a lot of people who take a camera, shoot a film and think that they've done a very good job, because they really don't know that there's a grammar to filmmaking, there's a grammar to editing, there's rhythm, there's space, where do you cut, why do you cut, how do you cut. I mean, there is a whole grammar to storytelling. And that is something I think that we grappled with a lot when we were watching these films. Because some of them had great content, but the craft was missing. And one last point is that it takes the same amount of effort to make a good film or a bad film. You still have to pull out a camera, you still have to write a script, you still have to round up the resources, you still have to shoot, you still have to feed the crew or whatever it is. The main difference comes when you put in enough thought in the script, and you have a sense of aesthetic, and you have a good team together, and you know that technical team matters. So that's something I think we all want to emphasize on.
And to add to this, I would like to say there's this example of Rohtak Film School. In 2005, when I was in the jury, I saw very bad films from Haryana.
Yeah, now
terrible films. I think there was just one film and it was very bad. We couldn't watch it. And now Rohtak, now from Haryana, we get very good films because of the same thing. I'm just adding to there, which is mentoring the youngsters.
Yeah, because of that is the craft they start. They learned it, and really the films are very good, and which is very important, because some films are very long, 2 hours film, 2.5. I mean, they're just randomly going and filming and coming back and putting together, and they think they may not be in a film. But at the end of the day, the language is missing, the film language, which is majorly missing. But end of the day, when we finish watching the film, we always say it's very good content, fantastic, it's come from a remote place, but the craft is missing. Because of that, they lost a lot of chances.
The emphasis is on the importance of mentoring and how it is reflecting in the quality of films, whether it is feature or non-feature. It's open for questions. questions to the jury?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Right.
Over the years, would you say, I mean, some of you will have been on the jury in the past as well. Over the years, would you say that things are moving in the right direction in the non-feature category?
Yes, you can see a lot of good entries, a lot of new content, a lot of, particularly in Northeast, this time, a lot of films from Northeast, which we never expected, the remote place, Northeast, and a lot of, urban filmmakers also going to, Ladakh. I mean, the person who shot the opening film is from Bombay, I think. He's gone all the way to Ladakh to make. So content-wise also, people are traveling and getting, and the number of entries are also increasing. Maybe because of this easy availability of cameras and stuff, but yes, there is. But what we need is, end of the day, where do they showcase it? Because that's going to discourage them. Because you can't put everything in the YouTube and keep, they themselves. That's majorly, we need people. All these filmmakers need the platform.
Way back, filmmaking was very difficult. So we had fewer films, but somehow the films were, I think, quality-wise, they were little not so bad. Now the quantity was there, so finding 20 films also was not that easy for us.
I think there's more confidence now because people have the means to shoot a film easily, but the craft, I think, needs to be emphasized.
Even OTT, they are not even encouraging documentaries for a kind of information. They say that they are commissioning, they are buying it. No, hardly any documentaries. And those documentaries which is also there may be some celebrities attached in the documentary. That's the only thing they are buying it. Maybe again they want to add that color into that. And even award-winning film documentaries. For example, last 2-3 years, we see a lot of our documentaries also nominated in Oscar and Cannes. I have no idea, where to watch it. Even though you got an awards, apart from Elephant Whisperer, because it's been commissioned by Netflix, their own project. They just has to be put in their list. Otherwise, you see a lot of 2-3 documentaries got to nomination level, they managed to get to that level. But there is, I don't think any people can watch it anyway.
I think in this connection, getting financing for a non-feature film or a short fiction, it is difficult.
Yeah.
So, but over the years, has it become a bit easier for the upcoming filmmakers to find financing?
No.
So, how to go about it? What would be your advice for budding filmmakers?
I think we also need some kind of guidance in this regard, because we ourselves are, most of us or all of us are filmmakers. So let me give you an example. I'm a national award winning filmmaker and I made a short documentary. It went to some festivals. Now I'm making a long documentary since last 6 years, and my documentary is stuck in the post-production process. And this is just a case, and there are so many cases. Frankly, there are no financiers. There are no platforms where funders for non-feature categories. There are extremely rare, or you can say there are none in our country. And also, so basically, since it does not have a prestige, a platform, buyers, after IFFI, what happens to these films? Where would they go? Sir, we were talking about YouTube, but YouTube is such a random thing. You can put anything on YouTube. So where's that platform where one can watch a serious content? Good films, I'm just talking about good films. Visit that platform and one can watch those documentary films, for example. So it is extremely difficult to get funds for good films, and unfortunately, we really lack at it.
May I add something to it, answering your question? When I passed out of FTII and I started making films, at that time Films Division was very active, and it was one very sure source for financing so far as non-fiction is concerned. Slowly that source has dried up, so it definitely affects the non-fiction producers. At the moment there is no support from the government, there is hardly any support from the private source also. So non-fiction movement definitely needs financial support from big industrial houses and even the big producers.
I think there is crowdfunding, which is one alternative, but I think when there is too much freedom, there is no focus. So what we are all trying to emphasize is that while YouTube is a platform, how do you create focus on a particular body of good work so that if people are directed to go there or can at least have heard about it?
And again, I'm in the wildlife space. I produce 6 films, all are self-funded, not commissioned by anyone. All are self-funded, broadcast worldwide to National Geographic, Discovery, BBC. Because there's no one in our country to promote wildlife films. Even though we all wanted to create awareness, there's no fund, and even the corporate social responsibility also, I don't think they can spend money on filmmaking. I mean, yeah, because the CSR fund is not for filmmaking. Whenever you approach them, no. Maybe some research they can provide, but that's one thing. So even if you want to create an awareness, you want to produce film, neither government can do it, and with funding, there's no channel. That's very no, that's missing. We need it. We need it, yeah.
I mean, what we need to understand as film fraternity, community, audiences, whatever, society, is non-fiction, non-feature films support, the mainstream cinema also, always. Like, whenever we research for a topic, for example, he's been working, he's a legend in the space of, wildlife filmmaking, non-fiction filmmaking and all. So people go and watch those films, and that works as their research thing. Also, it is not possible for the mainstream cinema, commercial cinema, to cover nuanced, things in our society from our lives. Only non-fiction films, those filmmakers, covering those small topics, only non-feature films can do that. Larger length films, we need a very strong kind of non-fiction film making movement, platform and support. Without them, we cannot, as Vandanaji was saying it like, most of us, who are like feature filmmakers, they have made short films initially. And people also ask, what have you made so far? So, but if they do not get proper mentoring, funds, platforms and exhibition places, how would they reach? And that's a really, really, a serious thing that we need to think about.
We should talk about this.
Northeast.
Northeast, why, how come?
Recently NNTC started co-production and 100% finance for documentaries. Otherwise there is another platform which is Doctors Kolkata, the initiative of TRI, Documentary Resource Initiative. This is a good, only it's very limited platforms. Nowadays because of Guwahati Film Institute, one film is also there in Indian phenomenon, and new media films, youngsters started working in this field, especially Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, very limited, with very limited resources. Thank you.
We can take, sorry.
Yeah.
We can take one last question.
Mahesh here. This problem with financing remains. It's there since the beginning of documentary making, I guess. It has never been profitable. Is it now time to think a different business model for that? Should we be looking beyond crowdfunding or the own resources of the documentary maker, and should we seriously use diligence, or the veteran documentary makers should you be looking at different business model altogether, maybe getting corporates, other trusts involved, something like that? Because this is, the question, as you must have seen, is oft repeated, it's often discussed, but I don't see any solution in sight.
Whatever you said, I think that makes sense, because I think the government could give guidelines to corporate houses. So, the corporate house can keep a separate fund for these documentaries, because we have to, the press also has to take this as a, it's a good social cause. If we are making good films, it helps the society. We need to, it could be done that way, the government could initiate such.
CSR fund should.
The government should give
CSR fund. CSR. It's not there in filmmaking.
CSR fund, there is a difficulty. CSR fund is given to trust. not any individual person. Okay, number one. Number two, the trust has to give the account that whatever money is spent for that particular project. So getting CSR fund from the private producer is very difficult. But sometimes some big business house, they would like to do some good kind of a awareness in the market, in the society, in the country, in different subjects, like a water harvesting, like a environment. These kind of films, yes, they do provide the fund. If you got a good contact, and if you meet them personally, convince your project and how best you are going to give the final product, then the CSR fund you can get. I got a very different experience in my life. I'm a regular lithographer filmmaker. My flagship is Dastan-e-Rafi on Muhammad Rafi. It was lithography of Muhammad Rafi right from his birth to the death, and we have covered the entire his career, how he has come out from small place, from some village, and become a superstar as a singer. Please believe me, I spent and I invested the money, then started pitching the project. And my film was released on G Classic. It is there on all DTH platforms. It is there on all the Geo, G5 and the Semaru. As far as, yes, I will like to tell you one thing about the YouTube. People are dreaming that you can make money from YouTube. You cannot make. My total viewership on the YouTube is more than 15 lakh, 17 lakh लोगों ने देखा होगा. And my income of the 17 lakh is only 1 lakh. To reach to that much kind of a audience and people watch your film. So I feel that it's a struggle. It's a struggle for the maker, and here all are the
in short, all the award-winning documentaries, I mean, whatever the document for the last 2 years, is mostly funded by foreign agencies. Not even one single commission project has been gotten any award, not even nominated. If you name it, most of it. Yeah.
I think also, as a short, hopefully short answer to a very important question, we have to celebrate documentary. You know, for us in India, documentary, when I was little, documentary used to come before the feature film, and I didn't want to watch documentary. So, you know, it's stuck in our minds somewhere. Even though FD has produced some beautiful, gorgeous documentary, I've seen them, you can't tear yourself away from it. We have to celebrate it. We have to understand that documentary is actually also like a book in film. It's giving you information, it's showing you different aspects of something, it's well researched. I mean, that's what documentary is capable of. So, and it can start with you guys. There are many things to change, but it can start with you guys.
And most of the short film in this entry, in this Indian panorama, we can see mostly people who wanted to do a longer feature film. So they invested their own money and they made a small short film to pitch, to get the feature films. There's nothing to do with documentaries. You know, if you see a lot of small short films, you can see it's a pitch for these feature films. So that's one thing. That's why the number of entries also increased, because most of the people wants to get into feature film, they make a small short film. The short film became a passion to get into the features. No?
Thank you. Kindly note that selected entries from non-feature category